In this video, I'm going to go over my Falx Bleed build, which is an extremely overpowered build. It is centered around using the Falx, which is basically the new Bandit's curved sword, but significantly better. To get this weapon for yourself, all you have to do is kill an NPC or an invader called Horn Scent, and he will drop the Falx. However, I can't tell you exactly where to find him because he moves around a lot based on your progression within the DLC. So to help you out, I will leave a link to the Elden Ring wiki in the description below so you can reference it and see where he should be for you. Now looking at this weapon's stats, we're going to see that it has pretty poor scaling, however it actually becomes quite decent once upgraded, with a B in dexterity, so this is going to be a very dexterity focused build. We can also see that it has a significant amount of blood loss buildup as well, which makes it perfect for a bleed build. We do of course have to talk about the Ash of what the Falx comes with, and it actually comes with a unique one called Revenger's Blade, which is actually really good. It does a running dash that's great at closing distance, and then unleashes a flurry of attacks that do a ton of damage, as well as building blood loss quite quickly. It's definitely one of the better Ash of Wars in the game. Moving on to the Incantations, I'm going to recommend Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength because they are going to significantly increase our damage and survivability. I include these in all of my builds. But to cast these incantations, we are going to need a Sacred Seal. It doesn't actually matter which Sacred Seal you use because scaling does not affect buffs in any way, but I like to use the Dragon Communion Seal because it's weightless and won't contribute to your equip load. Moving on to the Wondrous Physick, for our first tier I'm going to recommend the Thorny Cracked tier, which is going to increase our damage when performing consecutive hits for 3 minutes. This one's really a no-brainer with how fast the Falx is. It's also going to pair well with the Stone Barb Cracked tier, which is going to increase our Poise Break potential, which will indirectly lead to more bleed procs and more damage for 3 minutes. Getting into the armor, for the helm I'm going to recommend the White Mask because it has a passive effect that increases our damage whenever a blood loss proc happens in our vicinity. And for the chest, arms, and legs, it doesn't really matter what you use as long as you can achieve 51 poise without fat rolling. However, I'm using the Rakshasa armor, gauntlets, and greaves because I find it fulfills the role the most efficiently. Moving on to the talismans for this build, we are of course going to want the Shard of Alexander for the additional Ash of War damage that it provides. No surprise here, basically every build uses this. The Rotten Wing Sword Insignia is also going to pair well with this build by increasing the damage of our consecutive hits, and with how fast the Falx can attack, you'd be a fool not to use this. I'm also using Millicent's Prosthesis, which is a slightly less powerful version of the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, but it stacks, so this will still increase our damage quite a bit as well. And for our final talisman, I'm going to recommend the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which, like the White Mask, increases our damage when blood loss occurs in the vicinity, except this talisman is twice as powerful as the White Mask. Both of these effects will also stack, meaning we will get a huge damage spike after any blood loss occurs. Moving on to our stats, I have 55 Vigor, 21 Mind, 21 Endurance, 12 Strength, 80 Dexterity, 5 of which is from a talisman, and 25 Faith. I have 55 Vigor because I find it to be the sweet spot between having enough health that you're not going to get one shot, and not wasting too many points on Vigor, which has severe diminishing returns. I find 21 Mind to be a great balance between comfort and not wasting attribute points, so with 21, we will have enough FP to use the full version of Revenger's Blade 5 times before we run out of FP, and I consider that to be more than sufficient. For Endurance we have 21, which is a bit more than required in terms of equip load, but I wanted to make sure we had enough stamina to still be comfortable with this build. We have 12 Strength just because it's required to actually equip the Falx. It's not worth investing more into Strength because the scaling on the Falx is terrible. We have 75 Dexterity, or 80 because of the +5 from Millicent's Prosthesis, and this is simply to maximize our damage since the Falx scales best with Dexterity. And then we have 25 Faith, which is the bare minimum required to utilize Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength for the massive offensive and defensive benefits that they provide. I also want to go over Great Runes. You can of course use any Great Rune that you like, but I'm going to recommend Morgoth's Great Rune because it's going to give us 25% more health, and that is going to be quite significant considering you will probably get hit quite a bit with this build. And that's just due to the Ash of War having a large opening. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and check out this video next.